Welcome back to the channel Rare Penny Empire. Today's exciting journey into the fascinating world of rare coins where history, mystery, and money come together in the most unexpected ways. And in this video we're going to explore the story of one very special coin that has captured the imagination of collectors, dealers, and history buffs alike, a small copper-colored disc from the United States Mint. The humble yet extraordinary 1998 Lincoln 1-cent coin, a coin that on the surface may appear no different than the billions of other pennies that have passed through the hands of everyday Americans, but which, due to a set of extraordinary circumstances involving minting errors, design anomalies, and mint mark irregularities, has achieved a staggering market valuation of an estimated $4 million, making it one of the most valuable modern U.S. coins ever known. And while its face value of a single cent might suggest that it is destined to rattle around in spare change jars or be used in vending machines, the reality is that this coin has become a legend in numismatic circles, a treasure so rare that it has the power to completely transform the life of whoever is fortunate enough to find one. And the story of this coin is not simply about its monetary value but about how mistakes, quirks, and historical context can combine to create an object of intense desire. A story that connects us to the broader tradition of American coinage, the evolution of the Lincoln cent design, and the intricate and often secretive processes of the U.S. Mint, where billions of coins are produced every year with precision that is almost always flawless, but where the occasional slip of a die, misalignment of a press, or human oversight can create a numismatic masterpiece. And the 1998 1-cent coin is just such a masterpiece, believed to be the product of an extremely limited and possibly accidental mint run in which the Denver Mint, known for its high-speed production, produced a small batch of coins with errors that set them apart forever from the countless ordinary examples, errors that may include a double die obverse where Lincoln's profile appears slightly duplicated under magnification, subtle but detectable misalignments in the lettering that spell liberty, minute differences in the shape or placement of the date numerals, and even the possibility of a misplaced or altered mint mark that does not conform to the expected positioning of the D mark for Denver, all of which can dramatically elevate a coin's desirability and, when combined, create an object so unique that it becomes virtually priceless to a dedicated collector. And to understand the significance of such an error we must look back at the history of the Lincoln cent. First issued in 1909 to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth and replacing the Indian head cent that had circulated for half a century, a coin designed by Victor David Brenner with a dignified bust of Lincoln on the obverse and, at the time, 2 wheat ears framing the words 1 cent on the reverse, a design that remained until 1959 when the wheat reverse was replaced with the Lincoln Memorial in recognition of the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, a reverse that itself would remain until 2008 before being replaced by the Union Shield design in 2010, and through these decades, countless small changes, mint mark variations, and production quirks have created a vast field of collecting possibilities, with some coins worth far more than their face value. But even within that world, the 1998 era penny stands out, because while error coins from earlier eras are expected to be rare due to less sophisticated quality control, modern minting is supposed to be virtually immune to such flaws. And the fact that this coin exists is a testament to how even the most advanced systems can occasionally let something remarkable slip through, and there are theories as to how such a coin came to be, from the possibility of an overpolished die creating faint or missing details in Lincoln's hair or the steps of the memorial, to a planchette mix-up where a blank intended for a different denomination, perhaps a dime or foreign coin, found its way into the penny press, creating a coin with incorrect weight or composition, to the deliberate actions of a mint worker experimenting or commemorating some internal event, though such acts would be strictly against regulations. And whatever the cause, the rarity of the 1998 penny is compounded by the fact that most were probably released into circulation before anyone noticed, meaning that surviving examples in pristine condition are almost certainly in private hands or hidden away in jars, drawers, and old piggy banks, waiting for some sharp-eyed individual to rediscover them. And the numismatic market has shown again and again that when such a coin surfaces, bidding wars erupt, prices skyrocket, and the story spreads rapidly through collector communities, news outlets, and even popular television shows like Pawn Stars, where the excitement of seeing a small coin worth millions being carefully examined under bright lights captures the imagination of audiences worldwide. And the pawn shop scenario is especially intriguing because it's here that reality meets dream, where someone might walk in with a coin they thought was worth a few cents only to be told that it is, in fact, a once-in-a-lifetime treasure, and the Experts would pore over every detail with magnification, weight scales, and reference books, confirming authenticity, pointing out the anomalies that make the coin unique, and explaining to both the owner and the viewers why such a small piece of metal could command such a vast sum. And in the case of the 1998 D penny, these explanations would center on the scarcity of the error type, the condition of the coin, the historical significance of the Lincoln cent series, and the intense demand from collectors who specialize in error coins, especially those from the modern era where such mistakes are exceedingly rare. And what makes this story even more fascinating is that the principles that give this penny its extraordinary value can apply to coins of all denominations and ages, because in the world of numismatics, rarity, condition, and demand form a golden triangle that determines value, and when those three factors align, even the smallest, most ordinary-looking coin can become a fortune. And so the tale of the 1998 D 1-cent coin is not merely about a piece of copper-plated zinc with a number stamped on it, but about the unpredictable magic that happens when history, craftsmanship, and human error intersect, producing something that transcends its original purpose and becomes a symbol of possibility. And for those inspired by this story, it's a reminder to check your change carefully, to hold on to coins that look a little strange, to research dates and mint marks, and to understand that treasures can appear in the most ordinary places, because you never know when you might be holding in your hand the next $4 million penny, a coin that bridges past and present, connects everyday life to the rich tapestry of American history, and proves beyond any doubt that sometimes the smallest things hold the greatest value. And so as we dive deeper into the tale of this extraordinary 1998 D penny, we recognize it not only as a numismatic marvel but as a story of chance, rarity, and the human desire to own a piece of something truly special. And that is why in the grand halls of collectors, auction houses, and yes, even famous pawn shops, this coin will forever have a place of honor as one of the most remarkable mistakes the US Mint has ever produced. Dear viewers and coin enthusiasts, to another fascinating journey into the incredible world of rare coins, where history, mystery, and the thrill of unexpected fortune come together in a single piece of metal that might just change your life forever. And today we are diving deep into the captivating story of the extraordinary 1984 D 1-cent Liberty coin from the United States of America. A coin whose humble face value of just 1 cent hides an astonishing secret, for this small copper-plated zinc piece, minted in Denver, is known to have a jaw-dropping potential worth of up to $3 million in the rare coin collector's market due to a combination of minting mistakes, anomalies, and errors that set it apart from the billions of other pennies struck in that same era. And this is not just a story of a coin but of a moment in history, of the minting process, of human error meeting industrial precision, and of how those slight imperfections have captured the imagination of collectors, investors, and treasure hunters all over the world. Because while the 1-cent coin is one of the most common and least valuable forms of currency in circulation, certain rare examples like the 1984 D era coin have broken all expectations. And to truly understand why this particular penny can command such astronomical figures, we first have to understand the background of the 1-cent Liberty coin, the processes of the United States Mint, and the quirks of coin production during the early 1980s, when the composition of the penny had recently been changed from the long-standing 95% copper and 5% zinc to a core of 97.5% zinc-plated with 2.5% copper due to rising copper prices, a shift that occurred in 1982 and carried into the following years, meaning that the 1984 D penny was already part of a relatively new era in US coinage. But its rarity is not due to the metal itself but to what happened in the die-making and striking process at the Denver Mint, where the mint marker D is placed to indicate the coin's origin, and sometimes, under certain conditions, errors occur that are so subtle yet so significant that they create a one-of-a-kind collectible. In this case, the 1984 D penny is famous among numismatists for specific mint mark anomalies, double die errors, and other striking irregularities, such as the doubling on the obverse where the word Liberty, the date, or Lincoln's profile itself might appear with a ghost-like second image caused by a misalignment or slippage in the die during the striking process. And while common doubling can occur frequently, what makes this particular case valuable is the clarity, positioning, and rarity of the error, with some examples displaying such sharp doubled features that they stand out immediately even to an untrained eye. And then there are cases of misplaced mint marks, where the D is not in its proper position but slightly off, higher, lower, or tilted, creating a unique variant that can be authenticated by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. And when you combine such physical anomalies with pristine condition, especially coins graded at the highest mint state levels like MS-67 or above, you have a perfect storm for numismatic desirability, and this is where the leap from a humble penny to a multi-million-dollar treasure becomes possible. Because collectors are not just paying for the rarity but for the story, the history, the undeniable authenticity of a mint era that cannot be replicated. And let's not forget that the coin market operates heavily on supply and demand, meaning if a serious collector or investor wants to own the only known or one of the very few known examples of a specific mint era, they will bid aggressively, often driving prices into the millions, as seen with other coins in US history, and the 1984 1-cent Liberty coin's fame is fueled by auction records, media attention, and the sheer improbability of finding such a gem in circulation today, because after decades in pockets, drawers, cash registers, and piggy banks, most pennies are worn, scratched, or damaged, but those rare few that have survived in immaculate condition or that were pulled from circulation early and stored away are the ones that now emerge to shock the world. And this leads to an important point for anyone watching: you might just have such a coin without even knowing it, because millions of people still have jars of old pennies lying around, often dismissing them as worthless, when in fact one could be hiding a fortune. And the way to identify a potential jackpot coin like the 1984 mint era is to examine it under magnification, checking the obverse for any doubling, inspecting the mint mark for misplacement or unusual shapes, and looking for other anomalies such as die cracks, cuds, or off-center strikes. Because even a minor variation from the standard design can exponentially increase value if verified as a genuine mint era. And in the realm of coin collecting, provenance and certification are everything. So if you suspect you have one, sending it to a reputable grading service is essential to establish authenticity and condition, and once graded, a coin's market value becomes far more predictable, though as we've seen, high-profile auctions can push prices well beyond estimates, especially when multiple bidders with deep pockets are determined to win. And all of this fascination ultimately ties back to the enduring legacy of the Liberty coin series in U.S. currency, where the obverse portrait of Abraham Lincoln, first introduced in 1909 to mark the centennial of his birth, has remained a constant presence, making these coins not only a medium of exchange but also a cultural artifact, a piece of history in your hand. And the 1984 variant with its errors is a striking reminder that even in the age of precision minting, human and mechanical imperfections can create objects of immense beauty, mystery, and value. And while the idea of a penny being worth $3 million might sound like an exaggeration, the numismatic world has countless examples of coins selling for millions based solely on rarity and era uniqueness, making it a very real possibility for those lucky enough to own one. So as you sit there watching, perhaps you are already thinking about the coins you've handled over the years, the pennies you've spent without a second thought, and wondering whether you might have let a small fortune slip through your fingers. And that is why it is so important to pay attention, to educate yourself, and to treat every coin as a potential treasure until proven otherwise, because in the world of rare coin collecting, stories like the 1984 1-cent Liberty coin are not just tales of money but of discovery, history, and the thrill of the hunt, where a single overlooked cent can transform an ordinary day into an unforgettable windfall, proving once again that sometimes the most extraordinary things come in the smallest packages, and the only thing standing between you and that life-changing discovery might just be a little curiosity, a magnifying glass, and the patience to look closely at the coins that pass through your hands. So keep your eyes open, your mind engaged, and your love for history alive, because you never know when your own million-dollar penny will appear. Today's fascinating deep dive into the world of rare coins, where a small piece of copper and zinc, something most people might dismiss as pocket change, can actually hold an unbelievable value that could change someone's life forever. And today we're going to talk about one of the most jaw-dropping discoveries in American numismatic history, the 1983 United States 1-cent Liberty coin, a coin that in its rarest form, thanks to certain minting mistakes, error variations, and minute details that many people overlook, has been valued at an astonishing $1 million, a figure so far beyond its original face value of just 1 cent that it almost seems impossible. But as we'll explore in great detail, the world of coin collecting has a way of turning the ordinary into the extraordinary when history, rarity, and collector demand align perfectly. And to fully appreciate why this small coin is so valuable, we have to first take a step back in time to understand the context of its production, the changes in US coinage during that era, and why errors like this occurred in the first place, because 1983 was a pivotal year in the life of the Lincoln cent, a coin that had been in circulation since 1909 featuring the profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But the early 1980s brought a major shift in how these coins were made, specifically in the composition of their metal, as the United States Mint faced rising copper prices, which led to the switch from the traditional bronze alloy of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc to a cheaper copper-plated zinc core, a change that officially began in mid-1982. And while this might seem like a minor detail, it created an opportunity for unusual mint errors to occur during the transitional period, with some older copper planchets still being struck in subsequent years, including 1983, which is where things start to get interesting, because the rarest and most valuable 1983 Liberty 1-cent coins are those struck on the wrong planchet, meaning instead of the intended copper-plated zinc core weighing 2.5 grams, they were struck on leftover solid bronze planchets from previous years weighing about 3.1 grams, and this difference in weight, which can be detected with a precise scale, is one of the major clues that sets a potential fortune apart from ordinary change. But weight alone isn't the only factor, because in addition to composition errors, there are also known double-die varieties from 1983, particularly the famous 1983 double-die reverse, where under magnification, the inscriptions on the reverse such as 1 cent and United States of America appear doubled, a striking visual error caused by misalignment during the hubbing process, and collectors prize these double-die errors for their rarity and visual appeal, often paying thousands of dollars for well-preserved examples. But when you combine a composition error with a doubled die error and possibly even a missing or misplaced mint mark, the value can skyrocket into 6 or even 7 figures, which is how we arrive at the legendary $1 million valuation that has stunned the coin collecting world, because a coin with such a unique combination of errors essentially becomes one of a kind, and in numismatics, uniqueness is king. And part of what makes this story so captivating is the possibility that there are still undiscovered examples of this coin floating around in circulation, hiding in old jars, tucked away in dresser drawers, or sitting unassumingly in coin collections passed down through generations, meaning that anyone could, in theory, stumble upon a life-changing discovery if they know what to look for. And the key is careful examination, starting with the coin's date and mint mark, because the most valuable 1983 cents often bear the mint mark from Denver, although rare examples exist from the Philadelphia Mint as well, and then weighing the coin to determine if it is the heavier bronze version instead of the standard copper-plated zinc, followed by close inspection under a loupe or microscope to detect doubling on the reverse lettering, and sometimes even subtle planchet imperfections or die cracks that add to the coin's uniqueness. And this is why seasoned collectors and even beginners with a sharp eye are constantly scanning their chains for such treasures, because the thrill of discovery is matched only by the incredible rewards. And while some might dismiss the idea of a penny being worth $1 million as unrealistic or exaggerated, the truth is that in numismatics, documented auction results prove that extraordinary prices are paid for extraordinary coins, especially when 2 or more serious collectors enter a bidding war over a once-in-a-lifetime piece, driving the price into the stratosphere. And the 1983 Liberty 1 cent with multiple mint errors fits that bill perfectly, embodying the history, rarity, and intrigue that make coin collecting such a captivating pursuit. And when you think about it, this coin is more than just a monetary object, it's a physical piece of American history from a time of change in the mint's production process, a tangible reminder of how small oversights and technical errors can lead to something extraordinary, and it teaches us an important lesson about value itself. That worth is not always determined by size, material, or face value, but by the story it tells, the rarity of its existence, and the desire of those who seek it. So the next time you come across a 1983 penny, don't just toss it in a change jar without a second thought. Take a moment to examine it carefully, because for all you know, that little coin could be one of the rare few capable of turning an ordinary day into an unforgettable one. And as we've seen from countless examples in the coin world, these incredible finds don't just belong to museums or elite collectors. They sometimes come into the hands of ordinary people who simply paid attention. And that's perhaps the most exciting part of this story, the idea that the next $1 million coin could be sitting in your pocket right now, waiting for you to notice its hidden details, its weight, its doubling, or its composition. And when you do, you'll hold in your hand not just a small piece of metal, but a rare artifact that bridges the gap between everyday currency and priceless treasure, proof that even The humblest of objects can hold unimaginable value when rarity, history, and collector passion converge in the perfect way.